All right, and I'm going to mute everybody else because there is some.
Do you want to hit the mute all button and then just unmute me?
Yeah. There you go. Okay. So you guys, Josh spoke to us last month and he is here once again. People loved last time listening to you. You're so motivating every time that we hear you. So we're excited today to talk about consistency. You know, we had a big day yesterday with fall, and last week we did a booking blitz where, you know, people booked lots of parties. And so I think, you know, I think talking about the importance of consistency, so it's not just at times like launch, and we do those behaviors all the time, is really important. So we cannot wait to hear what you have to say to us today.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me back, Debbie. Hi, everybody. I see like 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 faces, and I see apparently that would be 22 gray squares / profile pictures. If anyone is available to turn your camera on, that would be amazing. If you can't, it's okay. We get it. Like, it's fine. But if you can,
like my husband,
that would be wonderful.
My husband said the same thing when he got on and trained.
Well, a lot of people, I feel like, you know, they're busy, so they turn the camera off so they're not interrupting, disturbing, whatever. But it's like, you know what? Like, it's okay. We all work from home. We're all doing like the same hustle life over here with 30 kids running around in the background. Maybe you haven't showered in 7 days. Welcome to quarantine. It's fine. We're all just living that life together, right? But the more faces I get reactions from, the more I'm able to kind of like lean in and like vibe with you instead of just talking to gray squares and hoping and praying that somebody is like with me, like while I'm going, right? So it's kind of like doing a Facebook Live. Like it's awkward unless you can get people to start giving you some hearts and thumbs ups and stuff like that. So what I tell people is, because we have to all be muted, I like to get jazz fingers. I know it's super girly, but you know what? I speak to like basically all women on every single call. So if you're vibing with something, I grew up in a church where we gave like a lot of response. Like sometimes the kind of response that weirded out my friends when they would come to church with us. Okay. We're like the weird rowdy church, but the jazz fingers is like your version of like, amen, brother. That's good stuff. I like it. Okay. So show me some jazzies. Let's practice. Let's practice. Little icebreaker here. Okay, everybody's comfortable now. Everybody's good. So we're going to talk about what I call the success formula. The success formula. I'm going to type it up over here for you guys. Success formula. For those of you that have 30 kids crawling on you, you can just copy and paste as I type stuff up, okay? Success formula, because I believe this is how you get success in any area of life. So I have, for those of you who don't know who I am, I went through John Maxwell's training. John Maxwell is the #1 leadership trainer on the planet. He has literally been voted the #1 leader by Inc. magazine, I don't know, like 10 years in a row, maybe more than that now. Like no one else is ever going to win the award as long as John Maxwell is alive, basically. And about, 5.5 years ago, I started working with network marketers specifically. So I spent the last 5.5 years as the life coach, leadership coach, and now business and marketing coach for network marketers. I've helped 5 different people go top 10 in a couple different companies. So I know the ins and outs of network marketing and personal growth, leadership, and business. Okay. I bring the 2 things together. And one of my favorite things as a coach is I one-on-one mentor a lot of really successful people, 6-figure earners, 7-figure earners. And so even though I am technically the teacher, I also get to be the observer. Do we have any teachers on the call? Any teachers? Sometimes as a teacher, we got Jennifer. How you doing, Jennifer? We got, thanks for being an awesome teacher. As teachers, yes, we have to teach what we know, but the beautiful thing is we also get to observe a lot of people. We also get to observe how people react, how people respond. We get to observe what people have in common. And as a teacher, I've got to spend a lot of time with a lot of other 6- and 7-figure earners and try to figure out like, what do these people have in common? And then training 20,000 plus network marketers in my groups, I'm constantly looking for what's the gap between people that struggle and people that flourish. Like, what is the gap? I do a lot of small group sessions where I get to talk behind the scenes with people. If you listen to my podcast is actually called Your Push Coach on iTunes or Spotify. I do a lot of behind the curtain episodes where I dive in with people. Like, why are you struggling in your business? Like, what's going through your head? Like, what's the problem? And so I get to spend a lot of time hearing what people are going through. And so I actually took this formula from Dave Ramsey, who taught it, and added just a little something to it myself. Dave Ramsey says this is how you get momentum. He says consistency plus intensity plus time equals momentum. Now, all I did was took his formula and just added one little thing that I thought was really important. I say consistency plus, and we'll get to all of these tonight. This is what we're going to go through together, okay? Whoops, typo. Plus intensity plus worth. How many of you have realized that there's a lot of self-worth involved in growing an online business via social media where everything is your face? Consistency plus intensity plus worth plus time. Maybe not everyone, in order to get momentum, has to do worth. Probably you don't need to have as much self-worth if you're selling Coca-Cola, which is a product that you aren't personally attached to. And all you have to do is say, okay, we're going to hire the most gorgeous models. And because we have the money to do so, we're going to take them to a tropical island and we're going to film them doing the coolest things in the world. And we're going to say to everybody, drink Coca-Cola. Your self-worth isn't really attached to that, is it? Because you get to spend all of Coca-Cola's money on making it look fabulous and wonderful. But what happens when you are both the model and the photographer and the person who has to come up with the copy, the post, and the person who has to actually go out and sell it to people and get the immediate response of someone saying not just, yes, I want Coca-Cola, or no, I don't want Coca-Cola, but yes, I want to work with you, or no, I don't want to work with you. Takes things to a whole different level. And that is why every network marketing company that I know of makes personal growth one of the mandatory activities that you got to be doing on a daily basis. Maybe outside, maybe other people don't need personal growth as much. Maybe you don't need personal growth to sell Coca-Cola to strangers when you get to use really gorgeous models that are 23 years old and Photoshop all of their cellulite out and make sure that they're the greatest thing there's ever been. But for real humans who have to be the model and the copywriter and the leader and the motivator, we need a little something extra. Okay, so I'm going to walk through these individually, and I want you to understand all four, because all four, I believe, is the only way you can really get what you want. Okay, how many people we got on the call tonight? Say, Josh, I want to do this full time. I'd really like to make a full-time income from this. Be home with my babies, or, I mean, if you're like me, hire a nanny. Like I'm home, but not always with my babies. Because I can't run a business but some of you want to. You want to be home with the babies, go on field trips when that kind of thing exists again, take your kids to the movies during the day when that kind of thing exists again. How many of you, maybe you don't want to do it full time, but you say, I'd really like this thing to pay, like maybe for like the groceries. I'd really like this thing to relieve some financial pressure so that we don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. Anybody want to buy some groceries? Anybody have some debt that maybe when I said Dave Ramsey, you're like, yep, that's why I'm doing this business, trying to snowball that debt, right? All college tuition. All of us have some definition, okay, of success. So I want you to be very careful when I use the word success, not to try to attach anything to it other than what you want. Okay. Success is really me getting what I want out of life. Some people want a Ferrari. I drive a Toyota Sequoia. My 4 kids would not fit in a Ferrari, even if I wanted to spend that kind of money on a car. Okay. Success looks different for different people. I mean, I don't even drive a Mercedes because the only Mercedes that have a third row are like this big. I'm like, cool, I got a Mercedes sign, but my kids are sitting on each other's laps. That's not really very cool. So I'm going to roll in a Toyota Sequoia, and maybe that's not like super bougie, but like that's not what success equals to me. Success equals being able to do the things I want to do for the people I want to do them for. Now, if you're different and you want to have a Mercedes because you don't have 4 kids, that's totally fine. Because remember, you get to define what success is for you. Okay? Maybe it's groceries. Maybe it's quitting a job. Maybe it's getting a Mercedes. That's up to you. But regardless of what you do want in life, this is the way to get it. Okay? Number 1 is consistency. Let's talk about this. This is really, really, really important. Next to consistency, or under it, however you want to write this out, I want you to write doing the right things. So here's the biggest mistake I see in all of network marketing is people thinking it matters how long you've been signed up. If you go listen to my podcast, on almost every single episode where I'm interviewing someone that's struggling, the very first thing they tell me is, well, I've been doing this for 4 years. Okay, what does that matter? We have this way of wanting to give ourselves credit for things that don't really matter. Has anybody ever signed up for the gym? Anybody have a gym membership, back before they all closed down? Has anybody ever got mad because you paid the gym money but never showed up and as a result didn't lose weight? Has anybody ever skipped the gym 30 days in a row and then got mad at the gym that you didn't lose weight? I hope no one is that stupid. Like, I hope you were only mad at yourself. Probably the only reason you're mad at the gym is because they make it really, really hard to cancel your membership. You have to go through like 30 different managers to act. There's not one place online where you can just go, I want to cancel. It's like, let me transfer you actually to 7 other countries to get your gym membership canceled. Okay. But you don't get mad at the gym because you didn't lose weight. Hopefully you understand that's your responsibility. Now, here's what I see happen with network marketers. You'll be signed up for the business for 4 years and never show up at the gym and then get upset at your company that you're not making money. And that's just about the stupidest thing I've ever heard of well, it just doesn't work for me. Apparently, I'm not as outgoing as her. Apparently, I'm not as creative as her. Apparently, blah, 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 blah. And if you're not careful, you start to get a little bit mad at sometimes your upline. Not Debbie, though. You love Debbie, okay? But sometimes your upline. Sometimes the company. If you're not careful, you start to get kind of like this bitterness about you that makes you think this isn't fair. And the problem is, I want you to write this down. This is really, really important for you as both a individual performer, but also as a leader, okay? People judge others based on their actions, but we judge ourselves based on this one's going to hurt a little, intentions. We judge others based on their actions, and we keep a really good report of everything that other people don't do. And then we judge ourselves based on our intentions. This is why in my training groups, I literally put everyone on a daily tracker and I make them prove to me that they are doing the kind of work that I told them needs to be done. Because otherwise, here's what some of you do. You intended to ask people to try your products or join your team 6 days this week. But the reality is you only did it 2 or 3 days. And you keep giving yourself credit for 6 days, week after week after week after week, and 6 months go by and you're like, what is wrong? This is not working for me. The reality is you're not working for it. You just gave yourself more credit than what you really deserve. You only showed up 50% of the time. And if you did that at a day job, you'd be fired. I have found that most of us, sorry, I'm not getting any jazz fingers yet, but that's okay. It's okay. It's kind of one of those tough love
All right,
talks.
I'm loving it.
I kind of specialize in tough talk. No one considers me their best friend, so it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. But what we have to realize is we're adults. And if we say we want money for groceries, if we say we want money to pay off debt, if we say we want money to pay for kids' college, if we say we want money to go full time, we as grown adults need to take a little bit more ownership for what that really takes. Because if we're just being perfectly honest, everyone, if you could have success doing as little of the right things that sometimes we do, this really would be a scam. Like, let's just be real. This would be a scam. If you really just had to post on social media 2 or 3 times a week and ask 2 or 3 people a week to try your product and ask 1 or 2 people a month to join your team, and somehow that got you to where Debbie is today, absolutely, this is a pyramid scam and you should run for your life. But it's not. It's a legitimate business that is set up in a really smart way, like a franchise, where you can recruit a team of people who team up with you to sell under you, and both of you get to benefit from it. It is not a pyramid scam. This is just a smart business plan. And smart, please understand, if it's a smart business and it's a legit business, which I believe it is, I've got a lot of friends making a lot of money doing this, okay, then shouldn't that mean there's some type of hard work that comes with it? Because if it doesn't, it's probably not a legit business, and it's probably not a smart business. It's probably something that's here today and gone tomorrow, okay? And that would be a Ponzi scam, which is when you get a whole bunch of people to give money with no products, nothing, like we're just all passing around money and it's just flowing up, okay? This is a legitimate business. And if you want to have legitimate customers and legitimate team members, there's some hustle to that. And I think too many times we have made, and probably social media has kind of helped out with that, we make this business way too glamorous and way too sexy. In reality, this business is not as sexy as we make it. It's not. Thanks, Dara. I like that. Because
it's too sexy. Sorry.
There is a sexy element for sure, but when that's the only thing we talk about, we forget that there's work involved. Talking to people is work. Now, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I detailed cars for 9.5 years, and that was real sweaty. Your muscles are sore every single day, and you're basically dead on the weekends kind of work. I do not think that this is that kind of work. I do not think that this is the kind of work where you should be tired and exhausted and stressed all of the time. But it is the kind of work that you do have to have some type of priorities and some type of to-do list, and you have to be willing to do the things that challenge your comfort zone. See, detailing cars, it's not that it was challenging my comfort zone, it was just that it was exhausting. Again, that's why personal growth is important in this business. If we're being super honest, it's not actually that hard to send someone a message and check on them and see how they're doing and see if they want to try your products. That's not actually that hard. It's just that it's not comfortable. right? I don't think there's anyone on this call that actually likes to ask somebody if they want to try their products or join their team. Like, none of us enjoy that. It feels kind of icky and gross, but we know it has to be done because if it changed our life, we owe it to other people to offer it to them. That would be called what I call your mission or your purpose. Where I've spent a lot of time convincing myself, Josh, if you don't offer it to people, that's the icky thing. It feels icky to offer it, but feelings are not reality. They are just chemical reactions to your fears and your insecurities. The truth is it's icky not to offer people a life raft when you have one. It's real icky to stand on the shore holding your life raft watching everyone else drown. That's real icky. So here's what we have to do. I want everyone to write down a couple things that if you want to succeed need to be done on a daily basis, okay? I'm actually going to give you my formula for this, which I think is just super easy. So easy. Expand plus engage plus convert. These are the right things. Expand, engage, convert. Expand is talk to new people. Okay? You're not going to make too many sales talking to the exact same people over and over and over and over and over and over. At some point, you got to get out there and you got to network and you got to talk to new people. You got to make new friends, whether that's Facebook, going through and using the add friend option. I really like the idea of creating some type of a Facebook like free community or something like that that you add people to and just add value around motivation and around your products and a couple different areas of things. It just gives you something free to invite people to, makes it real easy. Okay, so there's expand. There's engage. Engage is posting every day, gives people something to engage with and keeps you in front of them. There is, that's part of it. There is staying connected messages. In other words, keeping conversations going with people. And then there is some type of, like if you want to run a Facebook group or a free community or something, adding value, doing something to add value. Okay. Now, if you're doing parties, honestly, parties can knock out, here's the cool thing about parties. You can knock out expand, engage, and convert all in one thing. You invite new people to come, engage with them in the party, whether it be Zoom or in person, and then at the end you convert them. That's why people do parties. It's why I do webinars. It's my version of a party, but what I sell is public speaking, so I speak instead of handing out samples of nails and handing around champagne and whatever that is, right? So it's like, but then the last thing is convert. And this is the one thing a lot of you I have found are pretty decent at expanding and engaging on a regular basis because that's a little bit easier. The convert part is the thing people don't do enough of. Okay. I truly believe, guys, that at least 5 days a week, you need to be inviting 2 to 5 people minimum to try your product or go to a party, one or the other. 2 to 5 people a day. And to be honest, when you have a upcoming party or launch, I almost think you need to like add a 0 to that. Because if you have a free party to invite people, it's as easy as typing something up that says, hey friend, just wanted to send you a personal invite to this awesome Zoom party we're having next week. We'll be having a virtual cheers session, whatever it is you're going to do on your party, okay? Showing some amazing new fall products and even doing some huge giveaways. I would love it if you would come as one of my personal guests. Is next Thursday a good night for you? Just something like that. Okay? Now here's the thing with inviting to a party or a new product. It's something exciting. Okay? Which means you can take one single script and send it to 30 or 40 people that you haven't talked to in like a couple weeks, right? So maybe you talked to this person a couple weeks ago, or maybe you are talking to this person right now and have just been kind of waiting for something to invite them to. If we have a party or a new product launch, which Debbie told me you guys got going down right now, then I just need to blast this to a whole bunch of people. Does anyone feel that that right there is offensive? Does that feel scammy or salesy? I'm not like, hey, I have new product. Can I get your credit card number? Nobody's doing that. Like, nobody's stupid enough to even send a message like that. The reality is there is a way to talk to people that isn't gross and icky, even though sometimes it feels gross and icky to hit enter because you're just afraid of being annoying. Anybody have the fear of being annoying? Have the fear of interrupting someone's life? Have the fear of whatever? But here's the thing. It's free. If you were having a free girls' night, would you feel icky or gross about asking someone if they wanted to come? No one would feel gross or icky. It's free. How about this? If it were your friend having the party and you agreed to host it, but you weren't selling anything, would you feel icky inviting 20 or 30 people to come to the party so your friend could sell to them? No, you've probably all done it 100 times, right? If someone else is doing the sales, it no longer feels icky. In fact, you're like, you should come. It's going to be amazing. We're going to drink some champagne. We're going to, I don't know, watch whatever's new on Netflix. I don't know. We're just going to hang out. And then my friend is going to sell us all this great stuff. And you would actually be like excited about it. So what's the problem with inviting someone to something when you have something to sell? What's the problem with wanting to support your own family? Is that gross and icky and salesy? Is there anybody in here that walks into the mall and goes into a store and is like, you're gross for working here. How dare you try to support your family? Do you walk into the bank and walk up to your teller and say, oh, you're trying to support your family by working here? That's disgusting. You are so icky. Guys, we're doing the thing we love and believe, and yes, we're afraid of rejection, and that's the only thing that makes it icky is that we're afraid. But does that make it icky because we're afraid? I want you to think about something, okay? I believe we have something called we have heart thoughts, and I believe we have brain thoughts, okay? Now, I personally believe that our heart is in constant connection with our Creator. And that's why I believe humans at our root are perfect. Now, we do a lot of real stupid stuff, okay? But in our heart, we're all perfect. It's this guy that's like really having some problems because this guy has been pre-programmed by my past, by my experiences, by other people that I've listened to that may or may not know what they're talking about. This guy appears more like a machine that's been programmed. Our heart is the real version of us. Okay. So what I've worked really hard to do over the last 6.5 years is try to identify which of these thoughts are coming from my heart and which of these thoughts are coming from my head. And that helps me to realize, what do I really value? If you don't take the time to be aware of where your thoughts are coming from, you will find yourself living your entire life based on the beliefs of your brain, which, by the way, have been programmed by your past and your failures and your insecurities, and you never get around to living life the way it was meant to be, which is from your heart. And it does feel icky to follow your heart sometimes. Anybody ever had to follow your heart and it feels gross and icky because your head is scared to death? Okay. So what you have to do is you got to use a little self-coaching on yourself and say, why does this feel icky? Is it logical for this to actually be icky? Is this the voice of my brain or the voice of my heart? I believe that the voice of our heart is motivated by two things: purpose and potential. Our head is motivated by doubt and fear. So you have to ask yourself, where do I want to live today? Where do I want to live today? Do I want to live in my purpose and my potential, or in my doubt and fear? Do you want to hear something even more powerful? I personally believe that we pass off a lot of our fears and doubts and insecurities to our kids if we don't face them. So this is me personally, just being honest about what I have used to motivate myself. What I've used to motivate myself is, I don't know if I'm really worth it. I don't even know if I believe in myself, but I refuse to let my kids growing up questioning themselves the way I've questioned me. So I need to handle this. I need to be what I call a hashtag grown ass adult. And I need to say, I'm going to face these demons so that my kids don't have to. In other words, I'm going to live from my heart no matter how hard it is, so that my kids grow up going, living out your purpose and potential, that's just normal. I want my kids to think it's normal to chase your dreams. And in order to do that, I got some things I got to do on a daily basis. Okay, let's move on. We did consistency. Okay, now let's move on to intensity. Intensity, if consistency is the right actions, intensity is the right energy. It's not about just doing the right things. We've all seen the person that posts on social media 42 times a day but hasn't smiled in 37 years, and we're all like, did you look at that picture before you hit the post button? Because not sure if you were trying to sell depression, or like, I'm not sure what was going on there. So here's the thing. I have to do the right things, but I have to do them with the right energy. What is the right energy? Let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. Purpose and potential. Am I showing up with my posts, with my conversations, with my lives? Am I showing up with some type of tangible energy that interrupts what's going on in someone's life and demands them to pay attention to me? Now, let me just be clear. It does not mean you have to be loud and extroverted like me, okay? But all of us, when we get to talking about something we're excited about, have a little bit different of a look in our eyeballs. Would you agree with that? I can take the most introverted human in the world, and I have to do this sometimes living in Oklahoma in order to connect with other men. Sometimes I have to talk about things that I really don't care about. I'm not the typical Oklahoma man. I don't know how to work on my car. I don't know. I don't know how to do any. I don't even have ideas of what to tell you I don't know how to do, because that's how unmanly I am. And sometimes when I'm talking to men in Oklahoma, if I want to build a relationship or just strike up conversation, I got to start asking questions to figure out, what's this guy excited about? Because I can tell he's not going to talk just for the fun of it like I do. Like, I'll just run my mouth all day and night. It doesn't bother me. What's this guy? And I'll sit and I'll ask him, so, what do you do for a living? Oh, that definitely didn't get him excited. This one almost always works with dudes. What's your hobby? You'll watch a dude who is the most introverted, hasn't talked all day, literally light up to tell you about his boat or his truck or about an engine that he's rebuilding, or about how he loves to fish and he found this new fishing hole and he's got this bait, and their eyes will literally light up and they will talk to you for like 2 hours. Like sometimes I'm like, oh God, what have I opened here? I got to listen to fishing for 2 hours. How am I even going to do this? That's how we all are when we get in our passion zone. So what I need you to do is, I know that sometimes doing the right things can feel a little bit like just checking things off a list. And what I need you to do is remind yourself, why are you doing this? What is the purpose of you showing up on social media every single day? Is it just to check off something off your list? Or is it because you genuinely care about humans and you want to make a difference in people's lives? If you can catch that energy and bring that into everything you do, I swear to you, it'll change everything you do. Okay? Now, third one, worth. We got to get to this one because it's good. Consistency plus intensity plus worth. So here's the one thing that I want to throw at you about worth. How many of you believe that we were all created equal regardless of our gender? That should be a pretty easy one, right? All created equal regardless of our ethnicity, regardless of where we were born. Like, how many of you believe humans are equal? You guys believe that? Thought I'd see a little bit stronger response. Okay. Thank you. If we're all created equal, how can you not be included? How can you not be included? How many of you would tell your kids, you can do anything? Yeah, but Mom, I'm not as smart as the other kids. How many of you would say, yeah, forgot. You're not as smart as the other kids. You're right. You probably shouldn't try that, actually, because you're kind of stupid. Would anybody say that to their kids? What if your kid, I don't know, maybe your daughter wants to be a cheerleader. She says, I'm not as pretty as the other girls. Oh, yeah, forgot. You actually are real ugly and the other girls are gorgeous. No shot for you. But these are the kinds of things we say to ourselves. We say things to ourselves we would never in a million years say to our kid, or, to be honest, anyone else in the world other than maybe our worst enemy. And even then, we don't really mean it. We just wanted to piss them off, right? For the most part, we, especially in the network marketing industry, because most of us are very purpose-driven, we see the potential in others so quickly and in ourselves so slowly. And it's because we know our past. We know our fears. We know our failures. We know our shortcomings. We choose to see others through the eyes of strength and love. Now, if we choose to do that, how many of you have had a friend and you're like, she's kind of right, but I choose to believe in the best of her because I love her? Anybody ever had that? Like maybe what she's saying actually has a little bit of a logic to it, but I don't care because I love her and I believe in her and I think she can do it anyways. That tells me that we have the ability to do it. The question is, will you do it for yourself? There's an old saying we've probably all heard that says, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. You all heard that? Well, I have a little bit of an edit to it. If I could edit something that I know is world famous, sounds a little cocky to edit something like that, but I'm going to anyways. I say it this way. Either you convince yourself you can, or you convince yourself you can't. Either way, you're right. It's not just about what you currently believe. It's about what are you willing to work toward believing tomorrow. That would be what I call free will. Free will says that just because I'm this way today doesn't mean I have to stay that way forever. Just because someone makes a mistake in their life doesn't make them a failure. It means they failed in that moment, but guess what? They get to wake up and try again the next day. When it comes to worth, the biggest thing that I want to say to you is that you were created equally, but it's going to take a little bit more work for you to believe that about yourself, more work than it takes to believe that about others. That's why personal growth is so important. That's why affirmations are so important. I know a lot of people think it's silly to talk out loud to yourself, but it is one of the ways you reprogram your brain. I believe personally that our only job when it comes to our belief system is to retrain this guy to think more like your heart and less like your past. Because your heart always, remember, sees purpose and potential. My heart knows how valuable I am. It's just that my head constantly questions it. Do you know why my head constantly questions it? Because it just needs to be retrained. Somewhere along the line, I made enough mistakes that I made myself think all I do is make mistakes. But I've probably done just as many good things as I have done bad things. I just chose to focus on the bad things. I chose to tally the bad things. I chose to keep track of all those things. And all I got to do is retrain myself. This is what I do every single morning with my affirmations. I have 5 positive things that I say about myself that I believe are my greatest strengths. Yes, I use affirmations to combat my doubts and my worries, but the first thing I do is I have several positive things that I truly believe are the best things about me. I want to challenge everyone tonight. Maybe Debbie, could you maybe do a post in like the team Facebook group? And let's ask, what are the best 5 qualities about you? And then I want you to create affirmations around it. I want you to create affirmations around your 5 best qualities. Okay? If you're like me and you have a spiritual background, find a scripture that backs it up. Okay? Find some type of a quote on Google if you want to. I mean, sometimes, to be honest, I will just be like, okay, if one of my strengths is that I care about people, I'm going to go to Google and I'm literally going to put motivational quote for caring about others. And I'll literally just go through, I'll hit the Google Images button so I can just see all the pretty graphics and go right to them. And I'll just read through them and find one that speaks to me. That's going to be my new affirmation. Okay? And if you'll take 5 of those and just say them out loud every single day, here's what it does. It starts to train you
Thank you. Come here.
to see your strengths instead of your weaknesses. You got it, Debbie? Thanks, Debbie. That's where worth comes in. Now, let me tell you this. Again, let's go back to this. Either you convince yourself that you can, or you convince yourself that you can't. You can show up and ask 1 million people a day to join your business, but if you truly don't believe that you can, you'll find a way to mess it up. You will find a way to mess it up. Now, for those of you trying to focus on recruiting new reps, new people to actually join your downline, can I just throw this in there too? It's no different than selling a product. It's just, will you convince yourself that you can, or will you convince yourself that you can't? I did a consultation with a girl this morning, and she said, I can sell products all day and night, but I just can't recruit. I just can't recruit people that actually want to build a business. She said, I don't know. Maybe I have a limiting belief around it. What do you think? I said, yeah, you do have a limiting belief because you've told me 5 times in the last 10 minutes, I can't recruit. Now, is it really that you can't recruit, or is it you've convinced yourself that you can't recruit so you don't try as hard? 9 times out of 10, the thing you currently can't do is just the thing you haven't tried to do hard enough. And that is why most network marketers sell about 50 products to every 1 person they recruit to join their downline. Is recruiting 50 times harder? Now, I'll admit It might be 3 or 4 times harder. Less people want to start a business than, want to have a fun product, but it is not 50 times harder. It's only 50 times harder if you allow it to be because you convinced yourself it was. Now let's talk about the very last thing here, and that is time. You know what the problem with time is? Everything. We hate time. We want it now. We want it today. We want to take Josh's call that he gave tonight and go talk to 20 people and get 20 sales tonight. And unfortunately, there is this universal law. It's my least favorite and my most favorite all at the same time. It says, what you sow is what you will reap. The problem is, if you watch nature, there's this thing that has to take place in between sowing and reaping, and it's called time. And that is you putting the time and effort into watering and protecting that seed until it finally grows. I love this quote. I want to end you with this quote from John Maxwell that helped me so much. I was working a job, as I mentioned, detailing cars 40 hours a week, and I hated it so bad that the very second I saw that maybe this whole life coaching and leadership coaching could maybe lead to a career, all I could think about all day is, oh my God, I can't wait to get out of here. I cannot wait to get out of this stupid job. And John Maxwell said something that changed my life. He said, when I first started, I asked, how long will it take? But the further I went, the more I started to ask instead, how far can I go? I think too many times we're obsessed with how long it's going to take. If you'll change your perspective and say, how far can I go? Now all of a sudden, I got the rest of my life to get there. Because, let's be real. We all have a long ways we can go. I mean, I'm 36 years old, about to turn 37. So, I got 40, 50, 60 years, kind of hoping, if we got to the point where cars can drive themselves and we can fly to other planets, maybe I can live till 200 by the time that day. I don't know, who knows? But regardless, I've got a long ways to go. And if I get in too much of a hurry, I forget to enjoy this thing called life. I get so caught up in wanting to make money or get people on my team or sell products. And the challenge is not to get so caught up in making it happen today that you don't have anything left to show up tomorrow. The goal is I'm going to show up every day. Let's just see, where can we go? Let's go all the way to the top of the company. You got 30, 40, 50, 60 years to figure it out. Why do you need it to happen today? And if you can get a hold of that, what it starts helping you to do is see a long-term vision for your life. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. You want to hear something crazy? Every single one of you on this call, if you want it, and not everyone wants that, and that's okay. But every single person on this call could be making a 6-figure income 3 years from now if you showed up on a regular basis and did the right things for the next 3 years. Now, none of you are going to do it by next week unless you're already there. But 3 years from now, every single one of you could. Every single one of you. So be careful about getting in too much of a hurry. Because if you could realize how far you really could go and that you would have the rest of your life to enjoy that. That's what I told myself when I started. Once I heard that from John Maxwell, I said, okay, you got 5 years, Josh. I'm going to give you 5 years to put your head down and not even look up, not even look up to try to figure out if it's working. Literally put your head down for 5 years and do everything John Maxwell says to do. And in 5 years, you have my permission to look up and figure out where it got you. 2 years later, I was quitting my full-time job and made $15,000 in my first full-time month. Because I unattached myself from how long it was going to take and just said, I'm in it for the long haul. And as a result, I showed up day in and day out and just did the right thing without questioning it. give yourself permission to stop questioning how long it's going to take and to just show up and find out where it takes you. And it will take you somewhere beyond anything you even imagined. Wake up a year from now with zero debt, if you would trust. But let me tell you, going back to consistency, if you show up 1 week, take a week off, show up 1 week, take a week off, show up 1 week, take a week off, you can hang out with us for the next 10 years and never make progress. Because one step forward, one step back gets you where? Nowhere. It doesn't go anywhere. So please, please, please trust the system, trust the process. Don't be the person that hangs out for 10 years and never goes anywhere. Say, I'm going to show up and feed momentum on top of momentum on top of momentum until it gets me where I want to go. Okay, Debbie, that's all I got for you, other than just a reminder that you can grab my book for free if you haven't already at joshcoates.com and get my free best-selling leadership book for network marketers.
Oh my gosh, Josh, that last quote, I just love the how far can I go? A lot of people were commenting on that one.
Yeah, it's a good quote. It's good stuff.
I love it. Because that is so true. So many people have that, oh, well, you've been in this long or what, and they think it's time always. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for what you wanted me to do with the team, let me just, okay.
Yeah.
So they're gonna write their 5 best qualities, but then if you think they should then post the affirmations for all 5 in the, okay. So it could be a quote, it could be anything of what they're going to say to themselves about those qualities.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
So are they writing the 5? I just want to be able to give a good description, and I'll do an example of myself. So are they writing the 5 plus the 5 affirmations, or just writing the 5 affirmations?
I mean, either way, you can just write the 5 affirmations if you want and put the key word like in bold or something like that.
Perfect. Okay, got it. I like that.
Sound good?
Yep, sounds great.
Perfect.
Yeah, lots of great. I mean, every time I listen to you, I'm so motivated. We're all ready to go get those 20 people tonight, right?
Let's rock the fall. The fall, isn't the fall like the best time? I cannot wait for fall. I'm like,
well, it's always the best time of the year. So it'll be very interesting since we've had record numbers in the summer, which are usually the slowest. So I can't even imagine if we keep on this upward crazy spiral. So it's going to be awesome.
Beautiful.
Yep. So thank you so much. And I'm sure we have lots of jazz hands now for you, because everybody was loving it. Shira is a perfect person to have above you because she smiles through the whole entire training.
Love it. I know she was fun to watch. She kept me going.
I have never ever since I've known her see her not smile on any call, anything.
Oh, that's awesome.
The epitome of positivity.
That's awesome.
Yeah. On one last note, you must have a light, and for a while I was thinking you started doing a middle part, and then when you started moving.
No, it's my light up here bouncing off of the camera. It doesn't do it during the daytime because there's enough sunlight coming up that it like kind of reflects it. But at nighttime, it's a light fixture that's got like 5 lights pointing out in different directions. So you can actually see, like, as I move across, there's like 3 of them catching my camera.
Oh yeah. So no middle part for you.
No middle part. I'm not going back to the 7th grade look. Not right now. Maybe later.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.